It is often said that because of the elaborate preparations that precede her, the Queen thinks the whole world smells of fresh paint. I know exactly how she feels.
But it's not just any old paint that we smell. We can smell oil paint, acrylic paint, watercolour paint, pencil, charcoal. Do they smell?
I think on this show they smell of terror. Welcome to Sky Art's Portrait Artist of the Year.
A new day at the Wallace Collection sees a fresh set of hopefuls equipped to sketch and paint, including amateur artists Anirudh Shenoy, Jack Freeman, George Metuonyeka, Kiara Crompton, and Rebecca Oliver.
I've never taken part in any sort of art competition like this before. The last competition I took part in was an Easter egg designing competition when I was about 8 years old.
Joining them are 4 professional artists: Shanti Panchal, Catherine McDiarmid, Gosha Sabinska, and Breed Higgins ní Canada.
There's the kind of calm anticipation at the moment, so that's good, the calm part.
The skills of these 9 are about to be put to the test as they are tasked to portray one of 3 famous sitters.
He's younger than I would have wanted. I wanted someone with some wrinkles or something.
But they only have 4 hours.
Time is a problem. I think any artist would quite like to work on it infinitely, but there has to be a stopping point.
And they must impress our 3 expert judges.
I really, really like this painting. I wish there was a little bit more of a likeness.
All for the chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime prize, a £10,000 commission to paint award-winning Hollywood actress Kim Cattrall to be part of the permanent collection of the Walker Art Gallery in Liverpool.
So which artist can make their mark and gain a place in the semi-final?
Often you can see the artist in a portrait, but in this one you're completely hogging the limelight. The artists are focused on preparing to paint a surprise sitter. But to get here, their muse was more familiar.
Right, judges. Now, you made the selection from digital submissions, so this is the first time you've seen them real size. Let's have a look.
Rather handsome Viking chap, I recall. When we saw it digitally, I thought it was quite sloppily painted, but actually it's very controlled and rather good.
What I think is brilliant about this is that she gives you a facial expression, which actually I think is quite ambiguous. She could be completely exhausted, or she could be a little bit disdainful of you. Like, she's caught quite a lot in one face.
It's a watercolour, clearly, but there can't be more than 20 strokes on that piece of paper.
I think there was a presumption that an artwork is an accumulation of that many marks and decisions, and that's what it is. And sometimes we come across one where there's very little done, and it's more than the sum of its parts.
I can't work out whether or not she's going for this quite surrealist look where you get all these echoes of the shadows. You know, the wall doesn't fit quite right, or whether she's just someone who's absolutely fastidious about getting paint done.
But I think it's quite fun and inventive. I definitely know this guy. He used to feature regularly in the Portrait Award at the National Portrait Gallery when I was there. He has an incredible consistency of style, and I'm a huge fan.
Isn't it great that we've got him here today? He's using this very peculiar kind of mark making. It's thoroughly unique, isn't it? It's very inventive. I've never really seen anything quite like this. I like it even more in flesh.
He shows incredible skill in all these different textures, which are all reinvented with graphite, with a very simple line.
This is one of the sorts of portraits that a lot of people find very difficult. It looks like she's got chalk on her face and it doesn't look quite right. I think it's more about a mood that she's trying to create. It's a different way of communicating the spirit, which isn't just about simply painting a nose that looks exactly like the nose on our face. And I think she's got something there.
Why I really love this is that it's someone who probably could be hyper-realist if they wanted to. He's not done that. It just hovers in this really beautiful space of not being photographic, but of being real.
Who am I? What am I? Am I any good? It seems to be asking. But she is good.
She is. I think this is a wonderful submission because it's very small, but she's decided to kind of go for it. So there's this whole kind of opera happening.
And the gaze is extraordinary. It really is arresting. You can't really escape from her eyes.
And then
I'm hypnotised.
It's so full of story, isn't it? Incredible. It'd be great to meet her.
Yeah.
Our artists may have proved they can capture their own likenesses, but today it's all about capturing the likeness of a surprise sitter.
Artist, your sitter today became a big star in EastEnders, and then he transformed into a BAFTA award-winning documentary maker. He goes to some of the most dangerous places on earth. Please welcome Ross Kemp. Ross Kemp's hard-hitting programmes have seen him pinned down by sniper fire in Syria, wade into some of Rio's most lawless districts, and visit the toughest prison in Africa. Oh, dear fella, please sit down. Oh. No, not really. Ross, it's great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
So, how do you want to come across? Because you're a confusing man. I think of you as one of the hardest men in television, but you're actually quite lovely and friendly and fun to be with. So which side would you like them to try and find today?
You know, why not find all those sides? As you know, I like having a bit of a laugh, but also some of the stuff that we do is quite serious. So,
it is.
So a bit of both, I think, if you can find it.
Maybe if you could smile whilst tearing apart a telephone book.
Yes.
Artist, your sitter is the fourth generation of a very famous theatrical family with outstanding performances on stage and in film. Please welcome Freddie Fox. 8 years into his acting career, Freddie's credits include the bullish head of the pack in The Riot Club and the lead in Kenneth Branagh's Romeo and Juliet. You're very welcome. Please sit down. How nice to see you.
Thanks.
Now look here, how well are you served by your setting?
I know, it's great.
Fly fishing.
It's beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful idea.
Can you explain to our artists what it signifies?
I've had a lifelong love of fishing. When I was a kid, we'd go trout fishing, and ever since then, catching fish has been a pleasure. I'd say I'm pretty savvy. I can do all the casts, eyes closed, eyes open, left hand, right hand, yeah.
Oh, that's terrific. How accomplished is that?
Artist, your sitter today rose to fame in the brilliant This Is England, the role for which she won a Best Actress BAFTA. Since then, she's done numerous roles. She is the brilliant Vicky McClure. Applauded for her role as DCI Fleming in Line of Duty, Vicky McClure swapped to the other side of the law when she played a murderous psychopath in The Replacement. So, have you sat before?
No, never sat before. Do you know what? I'm really intrigued to see because we've all got, you know, hang-ups about something or other, and it's whether or not they pick certain things up.
What's your massive hang-up about your face?
My eyebrows.
Oh.
Yeah.
But surely you could do something about eyebrows.
Well, you can, but I don't want to look like I've got the drawn-on eyebrow.
Oh,
because
okay.
It's not for me.
I think they look smashing, but I'm no eyebrow aficionado and don't think that I am. What would you guys like from Vicky in an ideal world?
I'd love if you could stay in the same position. In this position, is this good? I'm comfortable.
That's good, yeah. Yeah, just be comfortable and natural and as you would just normally sit.
Like that's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, looking this way, sort of. No, not up, but just about
just
this.
Out.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's two naked women on that urn there. I shall observe them.
Not quite here, but just about there.
Oh, I can't look at the naked women. Okay.
I think the thing is, you need to be comfortable and also having a fixed spot to focus on that's not down, that's up somewhere. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artist, your challenge is about to begin.
You have 4 hours to complete your portrait. Your time starts now.
are various methods an artist can take to break the spell of the blank canvas. And today, 6 of them are laying the foundations of their portraits with an underdrawing.
Always start with charcoal, always get messy until I feel I've got a confident sketch, and then start laying in some acrylic, maybe the background first, to tackle kind of the beast.
Today's youngest artist, Kiara Crompton, spends time sketching in front of the television or painting in her bedroom. For her self-portrait, she chose to be brutally honest and confront her teenage insecurities by capturing the white spot cream she wears on her face. I know that you've never had a life model before. How does it feel?
It's different, I think, because you get the intensity of having like a person right there, and it's kind of strange to objectify them.
What's it like to paint someone so handsome?
It's pretty good. It's great because to have such a good bone structure is kind of ideal for me. I find it easier with bold shapes and bold lines. So yeah, loving life right now.
I've started going over my charcoal drawing with a mix of oil paint and some white spirit, just so I can knock it all back, and that dries nice and quickly, so I can then go over the top of it with oil paint.
Amateur artist Rebecca Oliver from London is a retail manager for a large fashion outlet. She started art classes 3 years ago, and her submission is only the 2nd painting she's completed in oil.
Hooray. I love it when people do the entire sitter.
Yes, I don't know if this is an absolutely amazing idea or a suicide mission.
It's an exciting challenge, but then at the same time, it means that you have a lot less work to do on the face.
That was the reasoning behind it, so yeah, you've caught me out.
Well, no, I won't tell anyone.
Oh, right, OK, fair enough.
Composition and framing are both important in creating visual impact and connection with the viewer, and each artist has their own approach.
I'm going to use the grid to help control the scale that I'm painting. So if the painting starts growing, if the head starts growing, I'm going to use that photo to bring me back to the composition I have chosen.
Professional artist Catherine McDiarmid teaches at her local art centre in the Lake District. She painted her submission using a mirror and produces one self-portrait a year in order to record how she changes with age.
Catherine, you're blocking in the tones with blue now to create a structure.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Ross and feeling that he's quite blue and quite grey, obviously with the grey background.
Yeah.
It is quite blue.
In your mind, this makes absolute sense, but to the sitter, he's thinking to himself, when I left the house this morning, my face wasn't blue.
Capturing a famous sitter and painting in public is a daunting experience for many, but it can be a happy distraction.
I have exams coming up, so to be honest, if this wasn't happening, I'd probably be revising or working on my essays and things like that. So it's quite nice to have this as an excuse to not be in the books.
Medical student Annie Rude Shanoy only gets the opportunity to paint during his summer breaks from university. His self-portrait was the first time he painted himself and took a couple of weeks to complete.
So how come you entered the competition?
It was my mum who sent the application in the end.
Without telling you?
Yeah, well, she told me, but not until quite late.
Not until it was too late?
Yeah. I wasn't interested, to be honest.
So she's a big supporter of your
Yeah,
art.
definitely. Yeah.
Have you painted her?
Briefly for the practice for this.
Compared to Ross Kemp, who would you say was the best sitter?
They have different qualities.
I should hope so.
Ross is pretty still. He's a great sitter.
I mean, he's a lovely, handsome human being, but if your mum turns up and looks like Ross Kemp, I'm gonna be stunned.
Yeah, it was good practice.
Nearly an hour of the challenge has passed.
Not quite at panic stations yet, but this first hour has absolutely flown by.
Accurate observation is the key to capturing a likeness. If you don't observe accurately, you will not get a likeness.
I didn't realise the time had passed so quickly, so I think painting the face is going to have to be pretty quick.
Our 9 heat artists have spent an hour trying to portray the faces of actors Freddie Fox, Ross Kemp and Vicky McClure. And the celebrities are being admired for more than just their faces.
She's sitting really well, and I think she's engaged with the thing, so that's great. You couldn't ask for much more.
After completing a degree in Russian and philosophy at Trinity College, Dublin, professional artist Breed Higgins-Niconeda went on to train at an art academy in St. Petersburg. She painted her self-portrait 2 years ago and wanted to show off her tan from the Californian sun after a period of living in the States. You've got a fantastic likeness quite quickly.
Thank you.
An entire figure. What made you plump for the entire figure?
I thought her relaxed pose was beautiful. I wanted to capture that. But also, I thought because she was facing out that I might use a landscape format to give it more space and breadth.
If you squint, the tones in her face are very similar to the background. Is that causing problems at all to make her stand out?
But to be honest, when I first saw the background, I was a bit worried about that. But I think the blue really offsets it. I've made it a little bit bluer there for that reason. It's a question of balancing it, I suppose.
Facial features differentiate the person from another person. Like in Vicky, her nose is kind of more pointy and her jawline is more prominent as well. So I kind of focus on what makes her the different features that she has that no one else has.
17-year-old George Metu Onyeka taught himself to draw growing up in Nigeria before coming to the UK 6 years ago. Based on a photograph he found while scrolling through his smartphone, his self-portrait took 2 weeks to complete using his own pencil technique.
Your style's really unusual because you put in all these different patterns and marks. How did you come about that style?
Before I started this, I used to use like a blending tool, and I was at my auntie's and I didn't have my blending tool. I was so eager to draw something. And I was just thinking of a way that I could shade without blending. And I don't know, I just came up with this.
So what is it exactly? Describe what you actually do when you make that pattern.
It's kind of like cross-hatching, just that the lines don't overlap.
OK.
Yeah.
But this is your technique.
Yeah.
So I think we ought to give it a name. So what do you call it? I think we should call it cross-Georging.
Yeah, cross-Georging.
Cross-Georging.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
At this moment, I am sketching with paint. I want to find his character. After that, I will start to create the final portrait.
Professional artist Gosia Sabinska studied at the Academy of Fine Arts in Poland and currently paints daily in her flat in Nottingham. Composition is very important to her, and she chose something very simple for her self-portrait to try to show her emotional side.
I want to focus on his face and his personality. If I have enough time, maybe I create the background.
All the artists are busy focusing on the characteristics that distinguish their sitters. But for those painting Ross, there's a particular attribute they must deal with.
Are bald people easier?
It depends what kind of artist you are. I mean, I think there are definitely artists that use the hair, and we've seen them in this competition, to help sort of tell a bit of the character. But then there are other artists that go for quite strong, direct, alert heads, and actually the absence of hair can really help enhance that, because often you're just then looking right into the eyes. There's nothing to distract you.
I wouldn't want to be tested in terms of my ability in this kind of paint-off way. But they all seem to be dealing with it admirably.
What I love is how comfortable she is in her own skin. All her limbs fall easily.
Vicky's a fabulous sitter, and she inhabits her body well, and she sits very well. But I think, you know, it's interesting that two of the three artists who have chosen a bigger frame than just the head. And I think you're right, it comes from her poise, and it's inspired them.
I thought I'd be really chatty and want to interact, but I don't really want to, like, annoy them. They're concentrating so hard.
The fox is in his den, the fox is in his den, and it's green.
Yeah, it's green. I think it's causing some of them some problems, actually.
I mean, I don't really understand why the green is such a challenge.
I think what it does is it plays around with the skin tone. So the light turns the soft pink tones a slightly sort of duller colour than you might have if you had a rich red behind that would complement the tones more.
I don't really mind whether they paint my hair green or my clothes red, and as long as they change the backdrop, I don't really mind, just as long as the colours or the style is their own.
I'm definitely not going to try and replicate that green. I'm going to do a green, but not that green.
With a degree in fine art from Falmouth University, amateur artist Jack Freeman is hoping to pursue a career teaching art. He painted his submission on a wooden board and was restricted as to the size of the composition as he paints in his small bedroom. Look at this palette.
Yeah.
How spare is that? Tell me about it.
Well, I thought today I'd use the Zorn palette, which is basically just 4 colours: white, cadmium, yellow ochre, and black.
Why do you need to restrict yourself? Is it a challenge, another challenge?
I think it helps because it stops you from doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Quite often I can get really mixed up with all my colours, and yeah, it just ends up being a bit of a disaster.
In order to achieve bright colours in his paintings, one of today's artists has developed a unique way of using his medium.
I use very heavy, thick paper. I mix color on the paper itself. So each time you paint, it penetrates deeper into the paper. So when the painting is finished, the whole paper is saturated with color.
Professional artist Shanti Panchal started painting at school in his village in India and has gone on to win many accolades, including the BP Portrait Award. He painted his submission after seeing a shipwreck on the beach in Barcelona. With up to 15 layers of paint, it demonstrates his distinctive style.
It's really interesting because the way that you use watercolour, you completely bend it to your will.
Yeah.
You make it very saturated, and all the things that could usually sort of go wrong with watercolour is what you're embracing.
Yeah. Here, you're engaging the surface of the paper as well as the color. It's almost injected color into paper.
So will Freddie's face stay that colour?
No, no, no. You use blotting paper and bring the face back. And therefore you can get this stained glass-like luminosity.
Nearly 2 hours of the challenge has passed.
I finished one of my sketches, and now I start the final portrait.
I still have a lot to do in terms of background and joining the whole picture together. Hopefully won't lose any of the dynamics.
I'm a very competitive person. I want to make it perfect.
I feel like I'm in a bit of a middle ground right now. Like, it could get a lot better, or it could just kind of sit at this slightly average state. I think the next hour will be really important.
I don't know if going for the full body was the greatest idea, but I've still got time.
Ross Kemp, Freddie Fox and Vicky McClure have been patiently posing for 2 hours.
I'm just going to sit like this for the rest of my life, aren't I? OK.
And each of their images is becoming more distinct with every brushstroke and pencil mark. It's also time to get some insight.
So, esteemed judges, we have reached the halfway stage. What do you guys feel is happening at this point?
It's a good day. I mean, this was a really strong wall. That makes you a bit nervous, because then you spend all morning saying, oh, it's going to be a good day, and then you get a bit worried. Maybe it won't.
Shall we start by talking about Vicky's section? I mean, breed.
It's beautiful.
She has got
Absolutely
something lovely.
beautiful. It's romantic, elegant, but not chocolate boxy and sweet.
Vicky's sitting very well. The way she inhabits her body is lovely, and, you know, Bree's got that perfectly.
Yeah.
And then in the middle we have Rebecca.
Did she pop out this morning and go run some errands? She's not really done anything.
She started with a fantastic charcoal drawing, but as she started to apply the paint, I think that her lack of experience in portrait painting is beginning to show.
In George's case, the way he makes the marks out of the pencil is very rich. It is almost like painting and placing a brush mark, and he's filling these grids with this very dense matter.
He's delivering today. For me, it will come alive when he starts to get a bit bigger. So when he comes away from the head and he can start doing the background.
Yeah. OK, so then, Catherine.
I'm really positive about it. I really like it. And I think that what we'll see over the rest of the competition is her starting to bring that colour in so that we lose that strange blueness.
I love Jack's painting of Freddie.
He got the likeness so quickly.
Yeah. What I really like about it as well is I feel like it's captured Freddie's uncles and fathers and cousins, and so it's not just Freddie. It's a consummate fox.
It's the Fox dynasty.
It's the Fox dynasty in one face.
But I feel we're halfway through what could be a spectacular day.
And I'm always ambivalent about spectacular days because it makes our judging task at the end even harder.
Much worse.
This is the longest I've actually sat still since I was a toddler. No, I wouldn't sat still when I was a toddler. Before, when I was a baby, I guess. I've never sat still this long. I certainly couldn't do it when I was at school. I was a renowned fidget.
I wouldn't say I was the Dalai Lama, but I've been focusing, you know. I haven't really been thinking about anything much other than just breathing and sitting, you know. You don't often get time to do that in everyday life.
In my own life, I'm daft and stupid and annoying, and, you know, I've got quite a childish sense of humour, but majority of my work is really serious and quite powerful in that kind of sense. So it'll be interesting to see what they've done with that.
A portrait is based on an artist's interpretation of what is in front of them, and today there's more than a sprinkling of artistic licence in the room.
It does look as though he spelt a lifetime down the pit. It's very, very blue.
I mean, I know it's all kind of grey, but I thought with him being kind of outdoors, I thought I'd reflect a mood, hopefully.
Now, Bree, I deduced a device that you used in your own self-portrait.
Oh, yes.
With this sort of corner.
Yeah. I thought there was a lot of space here that needed to be divided up.
Yeah, I think it works.
It's interesting. I mean, it's actually quite a clever way of introducing rhythm.
The elephant in the room for me. Freddie is he's blonde.
Yeah.
Does that trouble you at all?
This painting is not about only Freddie, it's also about artist and the sitter, it's an engagement.
OK.
Yeah.
I mean, often you can see the artist in a portrait, but in this one, you're completely hogging the limelight.
Indeed.
There's only 30 minutes of the challenge left.
Very impressed. Very impressed indeed.
I find people coming up and talking to me quite useful. They'll notice something that I've not noticed, and if I'm on my own in my studio, I don't notice sometimes until I go away and come back.
Time is always a problem. I think any artist would quite like to work on it infinitely, but there has to be a stopping point. I just hope it comes at the right time.
Painting is like agony and ecstasy simultaneously. I'm still not there, but I'm hoping to get there.
Today's 9 artists have only a few more minutes to complete the portraits of Vicky McClure, Freddie Fox, and Ross Kemp.
I'm worried I might overwork it, just putting too much paint on when I should just stop.
The main thing I'm working on at the moment is the ear. Beyond that, just minor touches, and I should be done.
I'm just feeling like there's something wrong, but I don't see it yet.
I'm scanning around the canvas right now, and I'm picking out little highlights that I can make ping out and shadows that I can make deeper. It brings the picture into higher contrast.
Artists, there are 5 minutes to go.
It's not going to get finished. I think I'm just going to make the best of what's here with the last few minutes I've got.
I think I've messed the hair up, which is not good.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your equipment and step away from your portraits.
All 3 of our sitters have avoided sneaking a peek at any of today's work. So how will they react when faced with 3 different images of themselves?
So, Ross, how was it for you?
I really enjoyed it. It was a nice afternoon.
It's weird that they've all painted you with no shirt on. I can't work that out. No. There are many aspects to Ross Kemp, and I'm hoping we're going to see a few revealed. Artists, will you please turn your easels?
Wow. I need to go and see a plastic surgeon, I think. I'm joking.
OK. Which one are you taking with you as a guide? Shall we go and have a closer look?
Yes, have a look. It's interesting, isn't it? What do you think I'm like? Do you think I'm a nice person?
I thought so, yeah. I'd say...
Of course I think I am.
Sure.
That's what you want in you. Big bloke with a shaven head saying, you think
You
I'm
the nice person.
Yeah.
Doctor.
I was going for serene.
Yeah, I can see that. It's blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like it, though. I like it. There's a lot, yeah. You made me look better looking.
I can see your inner world of pain and turmoil. You know that part of you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, so well. Genuinely, they're all very, very good. But I think it's going to have to be Catherine.
Oh, wow. That's not what I expected to... Wow! It's great, guys. Everybody tells me I look like my dad, everybody, and I never see it, ever. But that is got so much of my father in it. My dad would love that. Really impressive. I didn't like this green, but you've turned that into a different green, and it works so well. It's really moving.
Thanks.
You You've done an effect that I wouldn't have believed possible with watercolours.
And the colours
but
build
it's
up
so
and
good.
build up and
Yeah.
build up on this very special paper.
Isn't it mad? And it feels like that feels like it's coming out of the paper at you, you know. If I'm going to choose one to put on my wall, I'm going to say it's Jack's. And thank you very, very much.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I never expected to see sort of that design. And yet from far away, you can't really see it. Yeah. That's really, really amazing.
I love the unfinished nature of
Yeah.
it. Please tell me it was deliberate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% deliberate.
It's really unique. Amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
I love what you've done with the brushes, the way that's... all the colours are sort of very different but blended so well. Yeah, it's really stunning. My attention keeps going to that cross thing, whatever it is you've created. It's George.
Well done, George.
Once the artists and crowd have left the gallery, the judges are able to fully appreciate the final pieces.
It's not a direct likeness, but I think this has got a sense of Ross in it, though. She's one of those artists that I think I'd like to see more of her work to understand her a bit more.
He really inhabits that rectangle, fantastic, and he's really giving us the eyeball, isn't he? I mean, it is a very masculine piece of painting.
Yeah. I think it's a very powerful, very strong piece. I'm so excited about this guy who's only really just started painting. I know this isn't perfect, I know there are problems with it, but I think he shows real potential if he has a bit more time.
I absolutely love this.
This is Shanti's signature style, but ultimately, you know, this is a competition about sitting for a portrait with Freddie, and unfortunately, he hasn't captured him.
Yeah. I think we've got another artist here that's capturing Freddie and doing it entirely on their own terms. For me, actually, I really, really like this painting. I wish there was a little bit more of a likeness.
It's a very good head, and there's a liveliness to it.
He's ever so slightly stylised things, so it's not all sort of luscious and soft and romantic. I like it, and I think I would like it loads more if I had a dark background. Something happened with the face and it slowed her down, and then I think she panicked. I think she does quite quirky, good things with paint, and I just wish that, you know, the timing had been a bit better organised.
I think the light is nicely treated, both on the face and the hair and on the jumper.
She's so good at knowing how to get these colours to sit well together.
I see her when she was, you know, barely out of school. It's a very young portrait of her.
I see what you mean, but for me, the likeness is still there. And I really, really have to applaud him for coming up with this quite unusual way of making marks.
Okay, I'm being a bit harsh. The boy's 17 and he's invented his own language. That's pretty impressive, yeah.
Now they must whittle down the 9 artists to just 3.
It's incredible how those two are sort of, they look like they're from a similar style of painting, but actually they're miles apart. I think that one can go.
I think that one can go. I think we've seen other artists like that.
Okay.
They had a terrific day, though.
So which 3 artists have the judges chosen?
The first artist on the shortlist is Catherine McDermott.
The second artist is George Metuanyika.
And the third and final artist on the shortlist is Breed Higgins Nikaneda.
to all of you whose work was also outstanding. Thank you very much.
The artists that were picked are just on a whole nother level. I think you'd be a bit inhuman not to be disappointed, but I've enjoyed it too much to kind of come away with anything but just love for the experience, really.
Now's the chance to view the shortlisted artists' completed portraits, together with their original self-portraits.
As ever, very impressive when they're all lined up in a row. Shall we start by talking about Breed?
I think what we feel that we've got in this artist in particular is you have a confidence in her understanding and her expertise in working with paint. There's also sort of consistency in the device and the construction and the composition.
While you're speaking about the construction, I had problems with the broken black line.
I think what she did was that she realised that she'd left too much to the right of Vicky, that if the arc was going right the way forward, it would not move your eye around the painting in the right way.
And
so
she was
that's
right
why
about that.
she was
Yeah.
right.
And I thought it was brave to do something which was unrealistic as well, because it's an odd space.
So what about Catherine?
We were quite taken with her rather brutal self-portrait, and she's done the same with Ross. I like the gaze. It really engages the viewer.
All of her decisions are so intelligent. It's just so well done. You have to admire it.
Well, let's then go on to George, who is really remarkable.
I completely agree. I think he was absolutely tremendous. He brought his own style, George Hatching, and he created his own sort of sense of spirit through using that. So I think he was incredibly inventive.
I personally don't think he's quite got Vicky's likeness.
I must agree. But if you go closer and you start following his hatching across the face and see how the face is constructed, that falls away, and it's a very beautiful head.
It was a very rich day for you to choose.
We feel the same. I mean, there are other artists that could be up in this lineup. It's easily, for me, one of the best days we've ever had.
You've got a hard task.
Yes, they're all really good.
Breed, George, Catherine, congratulations on having got this far. But alas, two of you can go no further.
Yes, and the judges have decided which artist is going through to the semi-final. And that artist is... Breed Higgins Nikanate.
I'm delighted, I'm thrilled and amazed. It's just really nice to get positive feedback.
So close. You honestly really outdone yourself today.
I am a bit gutted, but Breed's painting was beautiful. So she is a worthy winner.
This invention is just extraordinary. Keep drawing.
It's been an amazing experience for me today. It has helped me develop and understand more as an artist myself.
It's a stunning painting.
There's something about Breed, there's a maturity and a confidence in her work, very painterly. And here we've got an artist who I've got real confidence in going forward.